welcome to Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie, and I'm here to impart some knowledge to you today via a 2-minute art tip. But I will confess right now, this is not going to be 2 minutes. I'm unapologetic about it. Learn to deal. No, just kidding. Today, what we're going to be talking about is embossing powders. And I know we have talked about this before, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit more in depth because I think that there's been a little bit of like limited understanding about how versatile and fun these are. And I kind of wanted to show you how you can incorporate elements of this into even fine art applications, not just like card making, not just like crafting, you know, that kind of stuff. You're kind of limiting your options if you're thinking that's what this is just about. You can do all kinds of fun things with this. So recently I had a live demo appearance thing in the Asheville store, which is part of our like summer series of fun things that we do. And they asked me to do a thing on embossing powders, and I was just like, yeah, no problem. But I thought it would be interesting if we kind of like threw the whole kitchen sink at the thing and kind of did a whole bunch of fun stuff all together in one piece. So some kind of experimental stuff that maybe you haven't seen before in addition to embossing powders. So this was the piece, the demo piece that I worked on live in the store, but I wanted to bring it here for this and show it to you because I think it was fun for people to see different ways to use new material for unconventional ways to incorporate them into fine art pieces. So to start off with, this was Kilimanjaro 300-pound bright white, and then I did the initial drawing with Molotow, the fine line pens, which are, as you can see, completely workable with watercolor and stuff after it has had some time to dry. You know, you can't just ink it and then hit it with water and stuff like that. It does need a little bit of time to set, but it's great because it doesn't bleed, it doesn't turn, it's not blue, it's not brown, it is black line, and it's very, very consistent, and it works well with that really, really nice stiff nib that it has on even a textured surface like this. After the ink stuff was done, we went a little crazy and we did some American Journey watercolor. A lot of this is the quinacridone burnt orange for the fish, and then we also threw some Brusho in there. This red area was actually sprinkles of Brusho in that, went into wet wash, and that was totally fun. And then we did some quinacridone violet and all kinds of stuff. Then we threw some Fine-Tec at it, some Fine-Tec metallic watercolor, which we did some highlights for the fish and for some of the flowers and stuff like that. That was fun, so we got to play around with that a little bit. And then what we did was we punched everything up with a dash of embossing powder. I am going to show you the numerous ways that we can use embossing powders because they have some different delivery methods that you might not have seen before. But we have the opaque white that we use to make the bubbles here. I don't know if you can see those. But then we also use the metallic gold here to do the scales, and like I don't know if you get a full appreciation for this, but like the embossing powders, when they mean embossing, they're not kidding. This is a 3-dimensional raised surface that we use to do the highlights on the scales for the fish. And so they are fantastical. I love the way that this turned out. It was exactly what I was going for. I wanted something kind of fanciful and fun and colorful. And if you're interested in colors that we used for this, it's a little bit of blue ice, which sadly has been discontinued, but Junebug and Shadow and a bunch of different stuff. Moonglow is in there too. So like a whole bunch of different American Journey wonderfulness all splashed in there at once. This was the way that we did the whole kitchen sink demo, threw a whole bunch of stuff at it. I am going to show you like a practical demo. We're going to make sign art kind of free form fun thing. So I want to show you how we're going to use those and how we're going to incorporate like some different delivery methods and how we can use those embossing powders in cool, fun ways. So let's start off and get going with that. So here we go. This was a piece that we hand deckled in another video about hand deckling your own paper. This is Arsh's 140-pound hot press. Actually, what I like to do is make myself a little bit of swampiness here. Big old swath of water, and I've been doing a lot of pieces kind of like this lately, leaving the more representational stuff alone and letting myself play a little bit more. Got a little puddle going here. Activate some color. So here's a little bit of Moon Glow. Drop it in there. I love this color. It's not purple, it's not gray, it's not blue. It's Moon Glow, baby. This is basically just the structure for the next little piece. This is going to be a text little sign thing, so I'm not stressing about how this works, or I'm interested in color and some little visual interest, some little fun happy accidents. You'll also notice from like looking at my watercolors that I am unapologetic about blossoms and stuff. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I like it. Those little happy passages I think are beautiful. And I recently had a lady come up to me and she was watching me demo live and was like, "Oh, you have a blossom." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. Isn't it beautiful? It's gorgeous." She looked at me like I was insane, but I love it. And that's okay. So that was a little bit of June bug in there. And here's some blue ice. I love this color. I'm sad that it's going away. Don't be mad. I might just buy it all up. It's gorgeous. Milky and bright and pretty. Love it. Just all kinds of stuff in here. And then let's just do something completely erratic. This is Quinn Scarlet. You're like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Perfect. I love that. Cool part about this is basically serving as a background. I'm not all too worried about where this goes color-wise. I just like the interaction. I just think it's pretty. Now, what I like to do, punch a little bit of this up, grab some of this. You notice if it mixes together, don't care. See, while it's all like and just going crazy and doing its own thing. All right, right here, I have a Fine-Tec set. This is Fine-Tec metallic watercolor. I love it because guess what? It's shiny, folks. I love shiny. So we're gonna play with some shiny right now. I'm going to take a little bit of this really, really light gold because I just love it, and I'm going to drop it just in big gobs down into this wet watercolor. It takes a little bit to activate because it's kind of on the like dry side. I want to just plop it into this wet area. I'm just going to let it freak out, play, do whatever it wants to do because I like that. Just go crazy. It's 140 pounds. It is warping. It is not stretched. And you know what? I don't care about that either. So we're gonna poke it and let it run all over the place. Then we'll turn it back the other way and see what happens. Doesn't matter. Punch up a little color here and a little color there. And then we're just gonna let that process get used to itself. And we will come back to it in just a little bit. We're going to emboss onto this colored surface, but we need to give it a little bit of time to dry. So we're gonna let it do its thing and we'll come back to it in a little bit. So we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I have assisted the forces of nature in the evaporation process and dried this with my very own heat gun because I'm impatient like that. The cool part about that for me is that I can force blossoms. I can push puddles around with my heat gun and I love that. So we have a little bit of metallic sheen going in here with the Fine-Tec. We got all kinds of different color interaction and I love it. It's beautiful. I think it's great. What we're going to do is I want to show you the couple of different ways that we can actually incorporate embossing powder into what we're doing today. So what we're actually going to do is a little bit of stenciling via one of the vehicles, and then we're going to do some hand lettering, which will also be fun. I want to show you how we can use these beautiful tools, and I think you are going to love it. So first up, one of the things I want to show you is that these embossing powders, they come in these like little teeny things like this, a little tub like that. The way that we're going to use this, I'm going to put like an initial layer in. This one's called Liquid Platinum. I love this color because it's kind of bronzy and understated, doesn't take over too much. But there three different delivery methods for how we can actually get what's essentially an adhesive onto our surface for this powder to stick to. We have this Emboss It clear pad. Let's say that you have a favorite rubber stamp that may be great for patterning or lettering or something like that. You can actually dip that, you know, press that stamp in here and then put it onto the surface and then sprinkle the powder on top of that. So that's one vehicle. We're not going to do any like stamping for this, but what we're going to do is a little bit of stenciling. And so I have some of the crafters stencils that we sell here at Cheap Joe's. Mwah, love these. This is a crazy good investment, folks. Another one of the ways that you can actually put this on is it comes in this cute little bottle that has a sponge applicator. Now what you do is you turn it upside down, and it does have a little plastic seal on the inside you have to take off, but you're gonna turn it upside down, you're gonna give it a little squeezy squeeze like this, and then what we're gonna do is hold it down firmly and you're going to pat it. Now this is like a gluey adhesive, and you'll see a little bit of sheens show up on top of your stencil, so you'll know that you got it on there. You'll be able to see it. Leaves a little bit of a glow. So we're going to do that, and we'll put just a teensy bit over here because that would be pretty, like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your powder and you're going to get generous with it. Don't be afraid. It's totally fine because this is a zero loss process, and I'll show you why. We're going to sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Get it all over there. Then you're going to tap it a little bit like this. I'm going to bend it a little, and then whatever you don't use, you're going to put it right back in the container like this. Except for when you smear it all over the table. So do this. Then put this up here so you can see it. Now if you get some in an area where you don't want it, like maybe you've got it over the edges, feel free to use your finger, take it off, because there's no glue there, it's not going to stick. Watch carefully. We have our Wagner heat gun that we carry here at Cheap Joe's. You will need this tool for it. You can use a hair dryer that has a higher temperature on it, but a lot of the times I find that the air coming out of there isn't as focused as what this is, and it ends up kind of blowing the powder off. So this really is worth it. Just go ahead and get you one. So here we go. Watch this. You're gonna see as it starts to melt, it actually kind of like blossoms. The embossing powder raises up, and you can see this cool texture that we incorporated in here start to show up. And this beautiful platinum color is like understated. It's not too much, but it's shiny and we love it. So we got that little stencil patterning in there just to kind of break up some of the color. And then our next option is the third way that we can put this on is actually these Emboss It pens. Okay, so here at Cheap Joe's we sell this in a set. It comes 2 pens in a set, and we have the black and the clear. I prefer the black because my eyesight is going and it's a little bit harder for me to see with the clear, because the clear is clear. It, you know, has a little bit of sheen to it because it's a glue and stuff like that, but very, very tough. So I reserve this for like subtle areas where I'm worried about like picking up any kind of line or any kind of bleed through or something like that. I kind of save this one for a little bit more delicate stuff. But I'm going to be using the black because it's going to help you see what I'm doing and help me see what I'm doing. So we are going to play a little bit. And forgive me, a little bit of hand lettering here. Does take a little bit of time, so give me a second and you'll see what we're going to do. So this black ink is actually the carrier. It's a glue, but it has a little bit of pigment in it so you can see it. But you're going to be so like freaked out, excited when you see how cool this is. So here we go. So now we have that ready. You got really just about a minute or so to get this on here. And Julie can't figure out how to open a jar. Here we go. So I'm using this one. This is just the metallic gold. It's as a contrast to the platinum. So we are going to sprinkle generous portions on this while it is still wet. And you're going, using the whole thing. No, I'm not. Because watch, we're going to put a whole bunch of this back. So we're going to agitate it, make sure we get good coverage over the ink / glue that we've applied. And you'll be able to see because it'll like, see, stuck on there. Perfect. And we're going to put the excess back in the jar. No waste here. And when you see how cool this looks, you're going to freak out. This is so cool and super fun. So here we go. Can't get the lid off. Can't put the lid on. Anyway, here we go. We're going to fire up our heat gun again. And so the heat actually causes the embossing powder to fuse with that glue that we put down, which was in the pen. Woohoo! It's beautiful. I love it. These are so fun. If you haven't tried embossing powders, you are missing out. This is great. So make sure to check out some embossing powders and all the tools that we've shown here. They're fun things to try. You're missing out if you haven't taken a bite. So check it out and enjoy.